Are you feeling discouraged because you're not seeing results as quickly as you'd like? In this video, we'll explore how the principles of Buddhism can help you stay motivated even when progress seems slow. Lesson 1. Set realistic expectations. One of the key lessons Buddhism offers is the importance of setting realistic expectations. Many times, we set high expectations and expect immediate results. This can lead to frustration. Buddhism teaches us the power of being in the present moment. When we are too focused on the future and the results we want, we lose sight of the journey we are on. In Buddhism, the principle of mindfulness is essential. It encourages us to be aware of what is happening now, not what we wish to happen in the future. When we set realistic expectations, we allow ourselves to embrace where we are. We understand that progress takes time. The Buddha taught that all things arise in their own time and that we must have patience. Life is not about rushing to the finish line but about understanding that the path is just as important as the destination. Setting realistic expectations means understanding that growth takes time. A tree doesn't grow overnight. It starts from a seed and slowly, with time and nurturing, it grows into something strong and beautiful. We are like that tree. If we expect instant results, we are denying ourselves the chance to enjoy the process of growth. Every step we take is part of our journey. Buddhism also teaches that attachment to outcomes leads to suffering. When we cling too tightly to what we think should happen, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Instead, we should focus on the effort we put into our actions. The results will come when the time is right. Realistic expectations help us stay grounded. They remind us that everything has its own rhythm and timing. By accepting this, we can remain calm and centered, even when progress seems slow. In this way, setting realistic expectations becomes an act of kindness toward ourselves. It allows us to breathe, to be patient, and to trust the process. It is through this acceptance that we can continue forward with a steady heart, knowing that every step, no matter how small, is bringing us closer to where we need to be. Lesson 2. Break down big goals. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about the middle path. This is the idea that we should avoid extremes. We should not push ourselves too hard, nor should we give up easily. This can be applied to how we approach our goals. When we have big dreams, it is easy to feel overwhelmed. The task in front of us may seem too large to handle. This is where the wisdom of breaking down big goals comes in. The Buddha taught that everything happens step by step. Just as a river flows from the mountains to the sea, we too must take one step at a time. By breaking down our big goals into smaller, more manageable parts, we make the journey easier. We can focus on what we can do today, rather than getting lost in the enormity of the task ahead. Each small step is important. Every time we make even a little progress, we are moving closer to our goal. It is the accumulation of these small efforts that leads to big results. Buddhism encourages us to be present in each step, to give our full attention to the task at hand, and not to worry about the bigger picture. When we are mindful of each moment, we realize that every action counts. Breaking down big goals also teaches us the value of patience. The Buddha often spoke about the importance of patience in all things. We must learn to be patient with ourselves. When we take small steps, we build a strong foundation. This foundation will support us as we move forward. It prevents us from feeling overwhelmed or discouraged. In this way, the Buddhist approach of breaking down goals reminds us that there is no rush. Life unfolds naturally, and we must allow our journey to unfold in its own time. By focusing on the small steps we can take today, we stay motivated. We see progress, no matter how small, and that progress fuels our determination to keep going. Lesson 3. Find inspiration in others. Buddhism teaches the importance of community and connection. In the Buddhist tradition, there is the idea of the Sangha, a community of people who support each other on the spiritual path. When we feel like we are not making progress, it can help to look to others for inspiration. There is a great power in learning from the experiences of others. Sometimes, when we feel stuck or discouraged, we can find hope by seeing how others have overcome their challenges. The Buddha himself encouraged his followers to look to others for guidance and support. By connecting with people who share similar goals or who have already walked the path we are on, we gain strength and motivation. In Buddhism, the story of the Buddha's journey to enlightenment is one of the most inspiring stories. He faced many obstacles along the way, but he never gave up. His determination and dedication inspire millions of people. By reflecting on stories like this, we remind ourselves that the journey is never easy, but it is worth it. Finding inspiration in others also helps us see that we are not alone in our struggles. Everyone faces difficulties. Everyone has moments where they feel like giving up. But by seeing how others have persisted, we are reminded that we too can overcome our challenges. The Buddha taught that we are all interconnected. By supporting each other, we create a sense of community that lifts us all up. Buddhism encourages us to practice compassion and kindness towards ourselves and others. When we find inspiration in others, we are practicing this kindness. We are acknowledging that we are not separate from those around us. Their success can inspire our own, just as our perseverance can inspire others. In this way, we create a cycle of motivation and support that helps everyone move forward. Lesson 4. Stay flexible and adapt. In the teachings of Buddhism, flexibility and adaptability are essential qualities. Life is constantly changing. Nothing stays the same. The Buddha taught that clinging to rigid ideas or ways of doing things only leads to suffering. Instead, we must learn to flow with the changes and adapt to new circumstances. When we are working towards a goal, it is important to remain open to change. Sometimes things don't go as planned. We may face obstacles or challenges that force us to rethink our approach. This is not a sign of failure. It is simply part of the process. Buddhism teaches us to embrace change and to see it as an opportunity for growth. Being flexible means not being attached to a specific outcome. It means understanding that the path to our goal may not be straightforward. There may be twists and turns along the way, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep moving forward even if we have to adjust our course. In Buddhism, there is a concept called non-attachment. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't care about our goals. It means that we should not become so attached to a specific result that we cannot see other possibilities. When we are flexible, we allow ourselves to see new opportunities and new ways of achieving our goals. Adaptability also means being gentle with ourselves. The Buddha taught that we should approach life with compassion. This includes being compassionate towards ourselves. If we are too rigid, we may become discouraged when things don't go as planned. But if we stay flexible, we can adjust our approach and continue moving forward with a sense of peace. Flexibility and adaptability are not signs of weakness. In fact, they are signs of strength. They show that we are willing to learn and grow. They remind us that the journey is not about perfection but about progress. By staying flexible, we can navigate the ups and downs of life with grace and resilience. Lesson 5. Take breaks when needed. Buddhism emphasizes the importance of balance in all things. The middle path, as taught by the Buddha, is about finding harmony in life. This includes knowing when to push forward and when to take a step back. Taking breaks when needed is an important part of staying motivated on our journey. When we are working hard towards a goal, it can be tempting to keep going even when we are exhausted. But Buddhism teaches that rest is just as important as effort. The Buddha himself often took time for quiet reflection and rest. He understood that the mind and body need time to recharge in order to function at their best. Taking breaks doesn't mean giving up. It means recognizing that we are human and that we need time to rest and recover. When we push ourselves too hard, we risk burning out. This can lead to frustration and a loss of motivation. But when we take time to rest, we return to our goals with renewed energy and focus. In Buddhism, meditation is a practice of rest for the mind. It allows us to step back from our busy lives and find peace in the present moment. Taking breaks is similar. It gives us the space to reflect, to recharge, and to reconnect with our purpose. When we return to our goals after a break, we often find that we are more motivated and more clear about the steps we need to take. Buddhism also teaches the importance of self-care. We cannot achieve our goals if we do not take care of ourselves. This includes taking care of our physical health, our mental well-being, and our emotional balance. By taking breaks when needed, we are practicing self-compassion. We are acknowledging that we need time to rest in order to be at our best. In this way, taking breaks becomes an essential part of the journey. It is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom. It shows that we understand the importance of balance and that we are committed to our well-being as we work towards our goals. Lesson 6. Limit comparisons. In the teachings of Buddhism, one of the greatest sources of suffering is the tendency to compare ourselves to others. When we look at the progress others are making and compare it to our own, we often feel inadequate. This can lead to frustration and a loss of motivation. Buddhism encourages us to focus on our own path, without being distracted by the paths of others. The Buddha taught that everyone's journey is unique. We each have our own strengths, our own challenges, and our own timing. When we compare ourselves to others, we are ignoring this truth. We are trying to measure our progress against someone else's path, which is never a fair comparison. Buddhism teaches the importance of contentment. This means being satisfied with where we are, rather than constantly striving to be like someone else. When we limit comparisons, we allow ourselves to appreciate our own progress. We see the value in our own efforts, rather than feeling discouraged by the achievements of others. In the same way, Buddhism encourages us to practice non-judgment. This means not judging ourselves or others based on external achievements. True success in Buddhism is not about how much we have or how fast we achieve our goals. It is about inner peace, wisdom, and compassion. By focusing on these qualities, we can stay motivated without falling into the trap of comparison. Limiting comparisons also helps us to stay present. When we are constantly looking at what others are doing, we are not fully engaged in our own journey. But when we focus on our own path, we become more mindful of each step we take. This mindfulness helps us to stay motivated as we see the progress we are making in our own time. Buddhism teaches us many valuable lessons for staying motivated when results are not coming fast enough. By setting realistic expectations, breaking down big goals, finding inspiration in others, staying flexible, taking breaks when needed, and limiting comparisons, we can stay on our path with patience and determination. These teachings remind us that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that true success comes from within.